group break, 24-263. We have the 12-box case break of 24-25, Upper Deck Series 2. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Best of luck. Portraits for Dallas, Logan Stankoven, Macklin Celebrini, Will Smith dual Young Gun for San Jose, and an electricity for the Islanders of Barzil. Canvas for Philly of Travis Konechny, Young Guns renewed for Chicago of Artemi Panarin, on tour for Colorado of Nathan McKinnon. Welcome aboard, Speckle for Pittsburgh of McGroarty, Daniil Misioul, Young Guns for New Jersey, and a welcome aboard for San Jose of Macklin Celebrini. Canvas for Carolina of Aho, on tour for the Flyers of Konechny and Tippett, Ooh La La for Calgary of Dustin Wolf. Portraits for Edmonton of McDavid, Brandon Scanlon, Young Guns for the New York Rangers, Playlist for Montreal of Suzuki. Dazzlers for Washington of John Carlson, Young Guns renewed for Florida of Alexander Barkov, and a population count 1,000 for New Jersey of Seamus Casey. Young Guns renewed for Calgary of Matthew Tkachuk, on a heater for Detroit of Patrick Kane. Young Guns Canvas, dual random between San Jose and Lightning of Will Smith and Connor Geekie. Portraits of Muka Medulin for San Jose, Adam Klapka, Young Guns for Calgary, and electricity for Buffalo of Rasmus Dahlin. On a heater for Dallas of Wyatt Johnston, Ooh La La for St. Louis of Binnington, and a Young Guns clear cut of Samuel Honzik for the Calgary Flames. We should probably, bear with me guys, put the year in there. Portraits for Anaheim of Cutter Gauthier, Oscar Back, Young Guns for Dallas, and an electricity for San Jose of William Eklund. Canvas of Hellebuck for Winnipeg, Bang for Your Puck for Pittsburgh of Erik Karlsson, and an Ooh La La for Seattle of Grubauer. Out for space for Colorado of Valerie Nichushkin, Oliver Kapanen, Young Guns for Montreal, and a welcome aboard for Utah of Josh Stone. Box 2. St. Louis of Jake Neighbors, Bang for Your Puck for Vancouver of Pettersson, Ooh La La for Chicago of Mrazek. On a heater for Toronto of William Nylander, Young Guns teammates for Philly of Mishkov and Fedotov, electricity for Washington of Ovechkin. On tour, Black Parallel for Minnesota of Kirill Kaprizov and Matt Boldy. Dazzlers for Minnesota of Jesper Wallstedt. And a Young Guns renewed for Dallas of Jason Robertson. Josie for Nashville. Young Guns renewed for Tampa of Vasilevsky. Portraits for Colorado of Makar. Deluxe base numbered to 250 for the Minnesota Wild of Kirill Kaprizov. We have got an on tour for Montreal of Caulfield and Suzuki, a Victor Mancini Young Guns for the Rangers, and a playlist for Colorado of Cale Makar. Black and white canvas of Michael Matheson for Montreal, bang for your puck speckle for Philly of Travis Sanheim, and an ooh la la for Boston of Jeremy Swayman. Playlist speckle for Vancouver of Quinn Hughes, Jackson Blake, Young Guns for Carolina, Electricity of Jack Hughes for New Jersey. Portraits of Brennan Othman for the Rangers, Young Guns for Tampa of Connor Geeky, Matvei Mishkov, Philadelphia Flyers, welcome aboard. Canvas for Minnesota of Gustafson, Young Guns renewed for Toronto of Nylander, on tour for Minnesota of Kaprizov and Boldy. Bang for your puck for Montreal of Jackeye, Drew Comesso, Young Guns for Chicago, Electricity of William Nylander for Toronto. Canvas of Charlie Lindgren for Washington, on a heater for Pittsburgh of Malkin, welcome aboard of Zellweger for Anaheim. Ooh, that's a good one. Young Guns for Colorado of Ivan, Electricity for Vancouver of Elias Pettersson, and a Young Guns outburst for the San Jose Sharks, Macklin Celebrini. Young Guns outburst, Macklin Celebrini. Oh. Box number 3. Young Guns renewed for Pittsburgh of Jake Gensel, bang for your puck for Boston of David Pastrnak, and a Young Guns canvas of Joel Blomqvist for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Portraits for Chicago of Frank Nazar, Samuel Honzik, Young Guns for Calgary, Electricity for Carolina of Aho. Fluorescence for Utah of Maverick Lamoureux. Portraits speckle for Edmonton of Draisaitl. Welcome aboard for Dallas of Logan Stankoven. Canvas for Seattle of Joey Decord. On tour for the Islanders of Horvat and Barzal. Electricity for Dallas of Wyatt Johnston. On tour for Seattle of McCann and Beniers, Young Guns for San Jose of Ethan Cardwell, and a welcome aboard of Brennan Othman for the Rangers. Deluxe base number to 250 for Vegas of Shea Theodore, Dazzlers for Philly of Owen Tippett, Young Guns renewed for Ottawa of Brady Tkachuk. Bang for your puck for Washington of Ovechkin, Noah Philp, Young Guns for Edmonton, playlist for Boston of David Pastrnak. Canvas of Noah Hannafin for the Golden Knights, on a heater for Vegas of Eichel, Electricity for Chicago of Connor Bedard. Outburst base for Edmonton of Matthias Janmark, ooh la la for Vancouver of Demko, and a Macklin Celebrini, Young Guns for the Sharks. On a heater for Colorado of Nathan McKinnon, Brian Halonen, Young Guns for New Jersey, Electricity for Nashville of Philip Forsberg. Canvas for San Jose of Eklund, Young Guns renewed for Philly of Konechny, portraits of Logan Milo for Montreal. Ooh la la speckle for Carolina, Freddie Anderson. Young Guns for Carolina of Jackson Blake. And an Ooh La La for Ottawa of Linus Ullmark. On to box 4. Canvas of Mario Lemieux for Pittsburgh. Young Guns renewed for St. Louis of Robert Thomas. On tour for Nashville of Philip Forsberg and Roman Josi. Canvas for Dallas of Jamie Benn. Bang for your puck for Toronto of Matthews. Welcome aboard for San Jose of Will Smith. Bang for your puck for Vancouver of Philip Hronik. Maverick Lamoureux Young Guns for Utah. Ooh La La for Washington of Charlie Lindgren. Dazzlers Pink for Vancouver of Quinn Hughes. Dazzlers for the Rangers of Matt Rempe. And a Young Guns renewed for Dallas of Ottinger. Portraits for San Jose of Macklin Celebrini. Isaac Poulter Young Guns for New Jersey. Welcome aboard for Minnesota of Wallstead. Fluorescence for Montreal of Joshua Roy. On tour Speckle for Utah of Keller and Cooley. And an Electricity of Zach Werenski for Columbus. On tour for Columbus of Fantilli and Johnson. Rutger McGroarty Young Guns for Pittsburgh. And a playlist for Edmonton of McDavid. Canvas for Seattle of Vince Dunn. Young Guns renewed for Colorado of Rantanen. On tour for Vegas of Stone and Hurdle. Ooh La La Speckle for Philly of Samuel Urson. Seamus Casey Young Guns for New Jersey. Electricity for Seattle of Jared McCann. On a heater for the Rangers of Panarin. Akurati Young Guns for Utah. And an Electricity for St. Louis of Robert Thomas. Canvas for Pittsburgh of Michael Bunting. Portraits for Boston of Charlie McAvoy. Playlist for Colorado of McKinnon. Out first base for Calgary of Dan Vladar. Zachary Leroux Young Guns for Nashville. And an Ooh La La for Tampa of Vasilevsky. Alright guys, remember you have until the end of this break to take advantage of getting a free SBA pack for joining that multi-year SBA break. Take $200 of teams, get a free 24-25 SBA pack. But that deal is only live until this break is done. All right, portraits for Montreal, Lane Hudson. For Washington, Alex Ovechkin. Connor Geeky for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Olin Zellweger for the Anaheim Ducks. Miro Heiskanen for the Dallas Stars. Zach Dean for the St. Louis Blues. Quinn Hughes for the Vancouver Canucks. Liam Ogren for Minnesota. Leon Draisaitl for Edmonton. Oh, that one right away. We had a runaway Brad Lambert for Winnipeg. I apologize for that. Brennan Brisson for the Vegas Golden Knights. For St. Louis, Zachary Bolduc. Speckle of Liam Ogren for Minnesota. For St. Louis, Zach Dean. A black parallel for the New York Rangers of Brennan Othman. Speckle of Quinn Hughes for Vancouver. Canvas, we have Justin Falk for St. Louis. Anjay Kopitar for the LA Kings. Alexander Georgiev for Colorado. Austin Matthews for Toronto. Joel Eriksson-Ek for Minnesota. Drake Batherson for the Ottawa Senators. Mikko Rantanen for Colorado. Jake Sanderson for Ottawa. Hampus Lindholm for the Boston Bruins. Brent Burns for the Carolina Hurricanes. Stuart Skinner for Edmonton. Mika Zibanejad for the Rangers. A duel between New Jersey and Toronto of Jack Hughes and Austin Matthews. We have William Karlsson for the the Vegas Golden Knights. Blake Coleman for the Calgary Flames. Seth Jones for Chicago. Radko Gudas for the Anaheim Ducks. Black and white of Dylan DeMello for the Winnipeg Jets. On tour, we have for the Pittsburgh Penguins, we have Crosby and Malkin. For Dallas, we have J-Rob and Wyatt Johnston. For Carolina, we have Aho and Svechnikov. Alex Ovechkin and Tom Wilson for Washington. Artemi Panarin and Alexi Lafreniere for the Rangers. For Utah, we have Cooley and Keller. For Detroit, we have Larkin and Raymond. Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou for St. Louis. Kadri and Sharangovich for Calgary. Kucherov and Hedman for Tampa. Tage Thompson and Rasmus Dahlin for Buffalo. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl for Edmonton. Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes for Vancouver. And a speckle for the Rangers of Panarin and Lafreniere. We have Connor Hellebuck for Winnipeg, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen for Buffalo, Samuel Ersson for Philly, Elvis Merzlikins for Columbus, Stuart Skinner for Edmonton, UC Soros for Nashville, Jake Ottinger for Dallas, Samuel Montembeault for Montreal, Joey Decord for Seattle, Joseph Woll for Toronto, Igor Shesterkin for the New York Rangers, Philip Gustafson for Minnesota, Aiden Hill for Vegas, John Gibson for Anaheim, Alexander Georgiev for Colorado, Freddie Anderson for Carolina, Speckle of Georgia for Colorado, Connor Hellebuck for Winnipeg. Electricities we have for Boston, Brad Marchand, Trevor Zegras for Anaheim, Chris Kreider for the Rangers, Mikko Rantanen for Colorado, Evgeny Malkin for Pittsburgh, Matt Boldy for Minnesota, Mark Stone for Vegas, Travis Konechny for Philly, Nazem Kadri for Calgary, Clayton Keller for Arizona, Kyle Connor for Winnipeg, Zach Hyman for Edmonton, Braden Point for Tampa, Brady Tkachuk for Ottawa, Matthew Tkachuk for Florida, Cole Caulfield for Montreal, Speckle of Matthew Tkachuk for Florida, Brad Marchand for Boston. Playlist, we have Kirill Kaprizov for Minnesota, Quinn Hughes for Vancouver, Austin Matthews for Toronto, Alex Ovechkin for Washington, Jack Eichel for the Vegas Golden Knights, Jason Robertson for Dallas, Artemi Panarin for the Rangers, Sebastian Aho for Carolina, Sidney Crosby for Pittsburgh, Nikita Kucherov for Tampa, Alexander Barkov for Florida, Nikita Kucherov for Tampa. Welcome aboard for Calgary, Samuel Honzik. A black parallel for New Jersey of Seamus Casey. We have Rucker McGroarty for Pittsburgh, Seamus Casey for New Jersey, Liam Ogren for Minnesota, Jet Luchenko for the Philadelphia Flyers, Logan Milo for Montreal, Frank Nazar for Chicago, Cutter Gauthier for Anaheim, Connor Geeky for Tampa, Zachary Bolduc for St. Louis, Maverick Bork for Dallas, and a Maverick Bork Speckle for Dallas. Alright, Dazzlers! For Minnesota, we have Liam Ogren. We have Cale Makar for Colorado, Tage Thompson for Buffalo, Kyle Connor for Winnipeg, Vince Dunn for Seattle, Mackenzie Weegar for Calgary, Josh Doan for Utah. On a heater Speckle, we have Nikita Kucherov for Tampa, on a heater of Troy Terry for Anaheim, Robert Thomas for St. Louis, Lucas Raymond for Detroit, Connor McDavid for Edmonton, Sam Reinhart for Florida, Wyatt Johnston for Dallas, Nikita Kucherov for Tampa, David Pastrnak for Boston. On tour for Florida, we have Barkov and Tkachuk. We have Winnipeg Jets, Kyle Connor and Josh Morrissey, Connor Bedard and Taylor Hall for Chicago, Matthews and Marner for Toronto, Hughes and Heischer for New Jersey, and a Speckle for Detroit of Larkin and Raymond. Young Guns Canvas for the LA Kings, Andre Lee. For the San Jose Sharks, Ethan Cardwell. For the Colorado Avalanche, Nikolai Kovalenko. For the Montreal Canadiens, Oliver Kapanen. And a playlist for Colorado of Nathan McKinnon. All right, we got some portraits. Matvei Mishkov for Philly, Rasmus Dahlin for Buffalo, Bradley Nadeau for Carolina, Seamus Casey for New Jersey, Nick Suzuki for Montreal, Will Smith for San Jose, Ulala Bobrovsky for Florida, Marc-Andre Fleury for Minnesota, Ilya Sorokin for the Islanders, Vitek Vanacek for San Jose, Charlie Lindgren for Washington, Andrei Vasilevsky for Tampa, Tristan Jarry for Pittsburgh. On tour for Ottawa, Brady Tkachuk and Tim Stützle, Mason McTavish and Trevor Zegras for Anaheim. For LA, Kopitar and Trevor Moore, Speckle for St. Louis of Thomas and Kyrou. Welcome aboard for Montreal of Lane Hudson, Jesper Wallstead for Minnesota. For San Jose, Will Smith and a Zachary Bolduc Speckle for St. Louis. Thank you.
Anytime.
Alright. Ooh, you're fun. Those are rare.
Right?
Yeah, those guys, those are rare. Alright, we have got a Dazzlers for Tampa of Victor Hedman, on a heater for Toronto of Matthews, playlist for Edmonton of Draisaitl, for Toronto Austin Matthews, and for Chicago Connor Bedard. Electricity on Jake Kopitar for LA, Lucas Raymond for Detroit, Robert Thomas for St. Louis, Zach Werenski for Columbus, Jared McCann for Seattle, Cole Caulfield Speckle for Montreal. Canvases, we have Drew Doughty for the LA Kings, John Carlson for Washington, Nick Suzuki for Montreal, Gordie Howe for Detroit, always fun to hit a Gordie. Frank Vetrano for Anaheim, Owen Tippett for Philadelphia, Evan Bouchard for Edmonton, a Timo Meier for the New Jersey Devils. Also for New Jersey, we have Jack Hughes, we have Alex Vlasic for Chicago. Program of Excellence canvas of Maverick Bork. Program of Excellence, black and white canvas, Mark Messier. Mark Messier, Program of Excellence, black and white canvas. Black and white canvas for Florida of Carter Verhaeghe. We have a clear-cut base for the Ottawa Senators of Thomas Chabot. John Tavares for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And Taylor Hall for the Chicago Blackhawks. Bang for your puck for Edmonton, we have Evan Bouchard. We have for Tampa, Victor Hedman. For St. Louis, Colton Parayko. Josh Morrissey for the Winnipeg Jets. Seth Jones for Chicago. John Carlson for Washington. Rasmus Dahlin for Buffalo. Timo Meier for New Jersey. Cale Makar for Colorado. Tom Wilson for Washington. Tage Thompson for Buffalo. Travis Sanheim for Philly. Kasperi Kapanen for St. Louis. JT Miller for Vancouver. Radko Gudas for the Anaheim Ducks, Adam Pellich for the New York Islanders, and a Speckle for Vancouver of JT Miller. I love that. All right, where should we go next? Let's do this, and then we'll 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 do this. Number to 250, deluxe base for the LA Kings of Quinton Byfield. Which team, Abby? What are we looking for? Deluxe base number to 250 for Pittsburgh of Drew O'Connor. Number to 100, exclusives, Walker Duehr for Calgary. All right, I got you. In the next 5 cards, we'll have a Winnipeg. I'm calling it. Pop count 500 for Columbus of Gavin Brindley. Population count 500 for Carolina, Bradley Nadeau. We have some outbursts. Tage Thompson for the Buffalo Sabres. Riker Evans for Seattle. Okay, I failed on my 5-card call. Jonathan Drouin for Colorado, but we're going to find it. Kirill Marchenko for Columbus. Dawson Mercer for New Jersey. Tyler Meyer, for Vancouver. Shane Wright for Seattle. Fluorescence for the Minnesota Wild of Liam Ogren. I am not prepared for snow. I don't even like that it's getting cold. Fluorescence for the Anaheim Ducks of Olin Zellweger. We have a fluorescence gold, number to 150 for Carolina of Scott Morrow. Fluorescence gold. Young Guns renewed for Montreal. We have Nick Suzuki. For Nashville, we have UC Soros. For Carolina, Andrei Svechnikov. David Pastrnak for Boston. Lucas Raymond for Detroit. Tage Thompson for St. Louis. Alex DeBrincat for Chicago. Connor McDavid for the Edmonton Oilers. Jordan Kyrou for St. Louis. Martin Necas for Carolina. Matthew Barzal for the New York Islanders. Jack Eichel for Buffalo. Mitchie Marnes for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Tim Stützle for Ottawa. Ilya Sorokin for the New York Islanders. Adam Fox for the Rangers. Nico Hischier for New Jersey. Leon Draisaitl for Edmonton. Moritz Seider for Detroit. Charlie McAvoy for Boston. Nikita Kucherov for Tampa. Cole Caulfield for Montreal. Connor Hellebuck for Winnipeg. And Zach Hyman for Toronto. All right, this is super rare and cool. We have a Fanimation canvas for the LA Kings, Quinton Byfield. Quinton Byfield, Fanimation. Those are so much fun. We have Young Guns. All right, for Colorado, Nikita Prieshapov. We have Isaac Poulter for New Jersey. Oscar Back for Dallas. Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith teammates for San Jose. For Colorado, we have Ivan. We have Declan Carlisle for Tampa. Patrick Giles for Florida. Rucker McGroarty for Pittsburgh. Logan Milo and Lane Hudson for Montreal. Devin Cooley for the San Jose Sharks. Akuradi for Utah. Andre Lee for LA. Samuel Honzik for Calgary. We have Brian Halonen for New Jersey. For Columbus, Cameron Butler. For Colorado, Callum Ritchie. Phil Kemp for Edmonton. Logan Morrison for Seattle. Oliver Kapanen for the Montreal Canadiens. We have Brandon Busey for the Boston Bruins. Callum Ritchie for the Colorado Avalanche. We have Zuber for Utah. Macklin Celebrini and Matvei Mishkov, dual Young Gun random between Philly and San Jose. Phil Kemp for Edmonton. Milo and Hudson teammates for Montreal. Gauthier and Zellweger teammates for Anaheim. Jet Luchenko for the Philadelphia Flyers. Andre Lee for LA. Matt Steinberg for Colorado. Nikita Prieshapov for Colorado. Georgi Romanov for San Jose. For Pittsburgh, we have Joel Blomqvist. For Nashville, Zachary Leroux. For San Jose, Jack Thompson. Vasily Ponomarev for Carolina. Seamus Casey for New Jersey. Daniil Misiul for New Jersey. Brandon Scanlon for the New York Rangers. Matvei Mishkov for the Philadelphia Flyers. Nikolai Kovalenko for Colorado. Maverick Lamoureux for Utah. Nolan Allen for Chicago. Dual Young Gun, that makes 2, which means you each get 1. Albert Johansson for Detroit. Maxim Siplikov for the New York Islanders. Alexei Kolosov for Philly. Patrick Giles for Florida, and Patrick Koch for Utah. All right, and to finish off, we have an Outburst Young Guns of Noah Philp. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to quickly do a random for the couple of canvases we have over here. So, left, right, here we go, 3 times, 1, 2, 3. The right side's got 'em. There we go, folks.